crafty friends, it's Diane, the Creative Inkster, and today is a Monday, March 13th, 2023, and this is the inspiration for tonight's card. I was going through some of my finished cards to pick some out as ones to send to a friend, and I saw this one and I thought, this is so nice. It's such an easy duplicatable layout that we should play with it. And so that was the inspiration for tonight. And so I've given you all the measurements on this. We'll go through that together and I'll show you how I cut the paper. So if you're out there watching live, let me know, drop me a comment in the comments section. And similarly, if you're watching on the replay, well, I'd love to hear what you think of tonight's layout. So let's leave this here as a little reference point. Got my pre-cut pieces ready to roll, except for my pattern paper. So I wanted to show you about cutting this. So, pardon me, I'm going to be doing this piece, this layer that goes on here is 4 by 5 1/4. So I've got a 6 by 6 piece, and I'm going to cut it in such a way that I'm going to have some over on the edge that I'm going to be able to use for the other pieces I need. Alrighty, if you followed that whole sequence along, I'm using a non-directional paper, which means I don't have to think about which way it's going to lay on the page. It can go either way, and that kind of makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to cut it, and actually when I do cut into a sheet like this, I look at whether it's directional on either side, because I may want to just cut this off, say at 4 inches here, but the pattern on the back won't be something I'm going to maybe use. A really good example of that is where there are a lot of lined papers. So here's a good one. This paper, by the way, is from Regency Park, and this is the back side of a different pattern, but I like to put this down as a layer this way versus this way on a card. I kind of like the stripes going up and down, so I kind of look for that, or any other way that I'm cutting this paper. Look at it from both angles. Hi Vicki, welcome. So here we are. We're going to cut this at 4 inches, and that's going to give me the biggest piece on the right that will be 2 inches by 6. So I'll have the most. If I were to cut this at 5 1/4, what will happen is I'll have 3/4 of an inch on the right, but I'll be cut off here at 5 1/4 this way. So I kind of keep that in mind when I'm cutting my paper, to have the most amount left over. All right, so this is 2 by 6. This is 4 by 6. Now I'll cut this down to 5 1/4. Alrighty, so I do have this small strip. Can be used for something, I'm sure. And let's see, I have a card base. That's good. Now the other thing we need to cut is 2 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. And so this piece that I have left over is perfect for that. It's 2 inches wide, and I need 2 1 1/2 inch. So I'm going to cut it off at 3. Once again, by cutting it at 3 and then trimming off this little bit of scrap, I'm going to have the largest leftover piece for other projects. So let's tuck that aside, and then we'll cut this down to 1 1/2. I'm actually going to use the back side of it, and flip it over and cut it now to 1 1/2 square. I don't know if you followed along with me there. It just made sense to have the biggest leftover bit that I can use for something. Hi Brenda, welcome. So that's what we need, is one that's 4 by 5 1/4 and a separate pattern that's 1 1/2 by 1 1/2, 2 of them, and that's how we get these pieces here. They don't have to be the back side of the paper, but it just kind of worked out well that way with the colors I'm using here today. And then you will need 3 triangles in cardstock. So here are the other 2. They're 1 3/4 inches square, and one that's larger at 2 1/4 inches. And then I just need a 2 by 2 to fit on here. So some pretty standard, simple to cut pieces. let's put that aside for a moment. I mentioned that the paper I'm using is from Regency Park. That's in the January to April mini catalog. Lots of beautiful floral images that go nicely together. And then the backs of the paper have polka dots and spots and stripes and other things you can use, I know for sure. So here's my Night of Navy card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And there I am cutting this. Oh, I want it to go this way. I'm just scoring that in half, but then I want to pop a piece of white on the inside before I get too far along here. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that'll fit lovely right on the inside. Put my liquid glue on it. There we go. Yeah, people have asked me where did the ideas come from for the layouts. Well, sometimes I find them on other people's sites, and I might just be scrolling through looking to use a specific stamp set or patterned paper. Or, like I said, tonight I was, or not tonight, I wasn't doing it. Last week I was looking for some cards, and I just thought this was a great layout. I don't even know if I did this in Mystery Card Monday way back in the day, but anyhow, I had that idea to use it. So if I put this paper like this, and then my triangles go like this, I have the option of doing the triangle this way. Actually, I hadn't thought of that, rather than using the back side of it. And then this one kind of goes over top with the greeting. Now I feel like that's still a little too much of the floral. I want to do the offsetting papers. So I'm going to do the backs of these on here. And I could have picked a different color. Nowhere does it say you have to put exactly the same color. You know, you do whatever's in the paper. It will give you all kinds of options usually. Usually our pattern papers have 5 or 6 different colors in them. Sometimes not so many, but you get the idea. Get you started. Okay, so here we go. We've got our pattern paper on the front. Beautiful flowers. Very pretty. Now our 1.5 inch cut squares, I'm going to glue those down onto Night of Navy, which is 1 3/4 inch square. You could make it a little bit of a tighter fit by having your pattern paper or your cardstock change in size. This would be nice if it was the striped too. I think that would look nice as well, because it's a couple of different shades of blue, and that would look nice as well. You see me shaking my liquid glue here because I'm trying to get every last drop out of it. There we go. And I'll give you a little tip for layering these down. Before we do that, we'll do a little stamping. So you'll see I want my piece here to be a little bit of a diamond shape versus a square. And I chose to go with Night of Navy ink. And I picked out a stamp set already, framed florets. I really like this Wishes for a Beautiful Birthday, and I think it will fit on here. If it doesn't, the For a Special Person. So let's see which one I like better. Wishes for a Beautiful Birthday. Ooh, it could be a little skinny. That may not actually fit. So there's another greeting in here that says For a Special Person on a Special Day. That's quite nice. I don't have the stamp set that goes with this pattern paper. That doesn't matter. I have lots of greetings, so it's a good chance to use them. So we'll ink this up, get a good amount of Night of Navy onto it, and then I'm going to just layer this onto my grid paper, lay it down so that it's using the grid's paper lines to help me position the greeting, and I can get it somewhat centered, at least go for trying to get it centered. There we go. There's a little something on that, isn't there? Let's clear that out. I think we're going to do another piece. Could flip it over. It's a dark ink, so if I do, it might just show through. So let's cut another piece of 2 by 2. I always have lots of scraps of white kicking around here. Here's one. Yeah, this will do. So let's cut another piece. Do a little better job at our stamping there. 2 by 2. There we go. And try that again. We'll lay this down on the grid paper for positioning. I've cleaned the stamp, so I'll ink it back up. And let's see how this goes. She's going in. Oh, there we go. I think there might have been a little hair or something, like imagine dog hair. There might be some of that around my house. So that was just kind of stuck on there. So let's clean this up. And now this should be nice and dry. Go ahead and glue these two pieces together. Simple layout, but I think quite effective. It's nice to add layers, and I could pop them all up, but I'm going to pop the middle panel up, but I'm going to glue down the 1.5 inch squares. Just going to get that a little twist. There we go. Okay, so to get these nicely lined up, I found, again, if I use my grid paper, I'm going to be able to see that I wanted this point right at the edge of the patterned paper, and I'm looking where the point is coming up and coming down to kind of center it along a line here, which is kind of hard to see from your vantage point, I admit, and I don't have a way to zoom my camera in, but you'll just have to trust me on this one, that by eyeballing it on the edge and lining this up like that, I've gone down the middle line here to line that up. There we go. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Oh, you don't have to look at it quite so perfectly. You can certainly run with scissors in hand and do whatever you like. Oopsie, that's a little high. So with liquid glue, I have the luxury of being able to pull it down a little bit while the glue is still wet. So there we go. There's our diamond shapes are on there. And then this on here, we're going to pop this guy up. And this card is just ready for a little embellishing. And the embellishments I'm using go with the Regency Park paper. They're called Milky Dots. And I know that they're on back order, and I believe actually no longer available. Oops, where did you come from? So it's unfortunate we won't be able to get more of those. They're kind of nice and I like them. But the catalog is coming to an end at the end of April, and no more of these will come out. I'm going to match the gold color on here up because it's a really nice mixture with the navy. On my sample card here, I'd used some black dots. So let's grab a tool to help get these off here. And we're just going to put them on that white space and kind of do a good job of using up a little of that white space. Filling it out. Come on. So I'm going to do a second card with this layout. And some other paper to show it off. It is nice, isn't it, Vicki? I like it. I think it's simple but effective. Right, so we'll put those over there. There's our first card for tonight. Second card with this layout. Loving it. I'm going to use a different greeting so I can put this guy away. That was framed florets. Has beautiful dies with it. This is a stamp set I don't use nearly often enough. Inspired Thoughts. It had dies that went with it, which no longer are available. They were these leaf and canopy, tree and canopy dies. But it was the greetings that I really liked. I liked how this one was quite square. I liked the set for $26 for the stamp set. You've got Christmas and sort of a sympathy, a thank you, peace, joy, love. Yeah, you've got a lot going on with this. Everything but happy birthday, really. Although it's your time to remember to feel appreciated and to know you're celebrated, kind of works that way too. So here we go with Coastal Cabana. Shout out to my friend Farah, who told me this was her favorite color. And then the paper I'm using is called By the Bay. And it has lots of blues in it, lots of navy. And since I used navy here, I thought I'm going to go with one of the other patterns. So the the Coastal Cabana is the sort of aqua color, and that's in this paper. There is kind of an up to this. And then all my other pieces, just as we did for the last card. So we'll take this one here and trim it down to 4 inches at the right. Actually, this time it is a bit directional, don't you think? Do you see a little directional? If I cut it this way, and the card, what I want ultimately is for the card to be this way. So I'm going to cut at 4 inches here. It has a little bit of a direction because of those shells. So that's going to give me the largest piece on the other side. It's got some gold flecks in it that I can use. And then I'll cut the other side at 5 1/4. Now it kind of looks like it's vanilla, but it's actually a very faint petal pink. So I'm sticking with white for my neutral color here. I think that's going to go really nicely. And we'll stick the white on the inside. I know a lot of you use liquid glue out there. Does anybody use the other end of the liquid glue? Did you even know there were 2 ends? With our Tombow liquid glue, there's this end, which has the fine end that the glue comes out. But there's also this end, which when I first started using liquid glue, I started using. But I don't use it anymore. When you squeeze it through here, it's more like a brush because it's a wider surface that you would spread it around with. And to be honest, I've never even thought of having 2 different ones open. I just find I need it for the fine details so much that I will use that fine end. But some people I have seen use the other side. So I throw that out there to see if that's something that you would use. Actually, now that I'm putting glue on this, I'm thinking this would have made a nice base side and then the seashells for the accent piece, but that's okay. We will find a beautiful card and take another sheet of it and make another one just the same. So here is the 1 3/4 inch, 2 of them, and we've got our 6 by 2. So let's do the other side. Now remember last time, because I want it 1 1/2, I cut this in half. So then I have this nice large piece to use again. Then I'm cutting this at, turn it slightly and cut it at 1 1/2, and then in half for 1 1/2. And then I'm getting a little bit of the gold flecks on both pieces. And then we'll get that in there like that. This one maybe I'll even do not as the diamond shapes, now that I'm looking at this paper. Sometimes that's the way the creative process is, isn't it? You think one thing, and then when you start playing with it and getting the pieces out, you change your mind. And that's a-okay, because it's your card. Nobody knows what the original looked like, and you're giving it to somebody who will be thrilled to receive a beautiful handmade card. Okay, so yeah, if I put them on this way, I think some of my gold accents might be covered up. If I put them this way, and that, oh, I like that. What do I like it better? No, I still like that. All right, we're going to stick with what we did before. Decision made. Can't fuss over it. All right, so once again, we kind of line this up on the grid paper for a guide. We're going to keep that gold showing as much as possible. Stick this point out here to the edge, and then line that up as best we can. There we go. Same on the back. And this time we'll have the gold to the right, coming swooping down from the right. And we have that in place. I think that's nicely even there. Knew but didn't use the wider end. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what made me even think of it. All right, here we go with our piece. And the greeting we're going with was, okay, so I had a plan. I was going to check to see if this would fit. And it does. Yep, that fits. It's going to have to be well positioned. I'm going to pull the Calypso Coral in. Nope, Coastal Cabana. They both are C's, right? So that's why it throws me off. We'll line this guy up. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. I think that's so beautiful. There we go. How nice. And now we're going to glue this on here. And then for embellishments on this, I'm going to use the flat-backed pearls, which are part of the By the Bay suite, which is where this paper's from. Let's get some, let's get that straight. It's kind of wiggled a little bit on me. Let's get some dimensionals on the back of this, and we're just about there. There we go. And we'll stick this on here. Perfect. And these flat-backed pearls, I've only used like one out of the whole package, are iridescent. They have a little bit of different shading on them depending on the way it hits the light and the other colors that they sit with on the page. So, not going to be a lot of room on the actual white part. That's okay. Oh, I used a couple hiding under here. I tend to like the smaller embellishments myself. I don't know why, but I do. We just get drawn to what we like, don't we? But these ones have many different shapes. They're not all like cookie cutter sizes like the dots would be. Here we go. How pretty. I'll have to use these some more. All right, that's my cards for tonight using this Blast from the Past layout. Thanks for stopping by and watching. And I'll get those posted up there and you can give it a try. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you on Wednesday. We are doing, I'm looking over my shoulder. Oh, I'm going to show you how to use, to do some letters. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Where is it? It's just hiding in my little, I have this little box that I keep under my laptop box. And it's a little box, my laptop stand. And it holds a treasure trove of things. But I'm going to show you how to do these pop-up letters on your cards with a new set of dies. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to make them dimensionalized so they really pop up. So you'll have to stop by and see that on Wednesday at 7. Thanks a lot, Brenda. Thanks, Vicki. Take care. Bye for now.